Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. And by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Welcome to Houston and beautiful Minute Maid Park. This afternoon, the roof is closed. Last night it was wide open, and Houston won the game last night 8-2. And they got an awful lot of a spark from their big second baseman, two-time All-Star, Jose Altuve, really doing a good job, and he does his thing, top of the order. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays lineup. They've gone 6-3 on this road trip. A win today would make it a very good road trip. Jose Reyes will lead things off, then Melky Cabrera and Jose Bautista in the third spot. Bautista's the DH this afternoon. Against the starter for Houston, Scott Feldman, he's gone 5 for 13 with a pair of doubles, a home run, and he's driven in 5. And right behind Bautista is Yonder Navarro, who's had a good road trip. He's had 11 hits on the road trip. He's hit 379, and he's done some damage. He has 6 RBIs during this 9-game road trip. Trying to build upon that here today against the former Oriole and former Texas Ranger, Scott Feldman.
Blue Jays got to bring their hitting shoes this afternoon to try and win this afternoon's game. This is Scott Feldman, 31-year-old veteran, be making his 20th start of the season. He was signed to a 3-year contract with the Astros this past offseason, served as the club's opening day starter. Last time out, he pitched against the Oakland Athletics. He tied a season high by throwing 7 innings, allowing just 1 run on 5 hits. He was in line to win that ball game before the bullpen blew it for him. Versus the Toronto Blue Jays, 7 starts, 6 relief appearances against the Jays in his career. And here's something to look out for this afternoon. He's gone at least 6 innings in 5 of his 7 career starts versus Toronto.
Take a look at the defense behind Scott Feldman. In the outfield, it's Mark Crouch left here, the former Blue Jay. Jake Marisnick is in second. Robbie Grossman made that game-saving catch last night in right field. Dominguez and Gonzalez on the left side. Altuve and Singleton on the right side. Jason Castro, the catcher behind the plate, teams up with Scott Feldman, the battery today.
Now, you mentioned that catch in right field. That was a game saver, and I thought it really got the team fired up. He went into the stands to catch that ball off the bat of Juan Francisco. Would have tied the ball game up, and after that they scored 4 more runs and blew that game wide open thanks to Robbie Grossman.
Just a couple of pitches and a big swing of momentum. Here's the first pitch of the game from Feldman, and Reyes drives it into the alley in center field. Jake Marisnick over to cut it off. Here's the throw to second base. Reyes is in there with a leadoff double, and he hurt himself. He is called out, and he hurt his shoulder. He slid into second base with that head-first slide, and you can see him grabbing his left shoulder. He is called out because he came off the base, and this is not good news.
He has been bothered by that right shoulder now for about a month or so. He got a cortisone shot to alleviate the pain just a little bit. He's had trouble throwing the ball across the diamond, and when he went in hard at second base, it looked like he jammed up his shoulder.
Well, Reyes with that head-first slide. Mike Frostad, the assistant trainer, attending to it. Looked like they're looking at his collarbone area.
That's why I don't like that head-first slide. Watch how he went right into the knee of Marwin Gonzalez.
And unfortunately, he's going to come out of the game. You see that left leg planted firmly on the base, and Reyes slid right into that shin bone with his collarbone. And he's going to come out of this game. And he's out as well, so maybe he's not coming out of the game. Yeah. Maybe he's just out.
He's walking
at
off
second.
Now.
He was called out at second for coming off the base. He appeared to reach the base safely and then lost contact when he was concerned about that shoulder. An unfortunate development here, and John Gibbons is out to talk to Jerry Meals. Meals is the crew chief on this crew, and they're having a discussion now. We have been told it is ruled a single, and Reyes out advancing to second base, and DeMarlo Hale wants to check with the video up in the clubhouse, and he's still waiting on a response, and it took a long time because they had to attend to it. And you see Hale said he came off the base.
Did he come off the base because he was injured? But you got to call time. I get that. The throw, it looked like Jose was safe. He's got his hand in there, hits that knee, jams up the shoulder against the knee. And then when he comes off, yeah, he's off.
Yeah,
and he's out.
He came off the base, obviously in pain. Melky Cabrera. Well, what a tough start for the Blue Jays. Losing their shortstop. We're not sure if he's out of the game yet or not. He was off the field because he was out.
But a good start, nonetheless, goes to waste. The Blue Jays have scored in the first inning in all 3 of the games so far down in Houston here. And it looked like they were going to do the same.
There's that curveball for a strike. Feldman will throw a lot of curveballs, and he's got confidence he can throw it any time in the count. Go back to the Reyes play. It is ruled a single, and he is out advancing. I don't agree with that at all. He was safe, which should make it a double, and then he lost contact with the base, and then he was tagged out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's a double, and then it came off the bag.
Not that it really matters. It's still an out. Melky Cabrera with a 2-2 count. Melky batting .312 at the start of this game. This is popped up and playable. Matt Dominguez, the third baseman, makes the catch, 2 outs. Dominguez has been an Ironman at third base for the Astros. He has played every day over there at third, and he is among the leaders in games played. He started 110 of the 111 games for the Astros this season. Jose Bautista is the DH this afternoon. He takes that first pitch cutter on the outside corner.
You're not going to get a whole lot velocity-wise from Scott Feldman. He's going to have to move the ball around the strike zone, change speeds. He'll cut the ball, a little bit of a curveball. That's a good sign to see Jose Reyes still on the bench.
Yeah. And talking to Josh Tolle, and Tolle's going, well, you got no meat on those bones. It's a wonder that you're still able to play. But it looks like he's still in the game. That's good news. And he has a hit already. He's okay. You can see his teammates checking on him. And whenever you can see that bright smile of Reyes, that's encouraging. Bautista pops it up back over the screen. Yep, there's the thumbs up. So Reyes is okay, still in the game.
That could have been dangerous right there. That head first slide, and when you run into that guy who's anchored at second base, not much give.
2-2 to Bautista. Inside, ball 3. Johnny Navarro is on deck if Bautista can reach. Navarro with that terrific road trip so far. 379 on the trip. There's a line drive into center. That'll get down for a base hit. Marisnik over to cut it off. 2 hits in the inning. Reyes had the single, and now Bautista with a 2-out single.
And that'll bring Diana Navarro to the plate, and let's see what he has done. The average against the pitchers that he has seen this year. He's seen the majority of the fastball. He's hitting .274 against them. I think if you want to get a base hit, don't throw him a curveball. Curveball, he's hitting .350 against that breaking ball. Slider might be the pitcher of choice if you want to try and get him out. But right now he's locked in, and he is seeing everything. He's laying off those borderline pitches, and he's really driving the ball into the outfield.
It's interesting he would have such a high batting average against the curveball. That Feldman is a curveball pitcher. So this should work in Navarro's favor, but for his career, he's 0 for 4 against Scott Feldman. Up the middle. Gonzalez on the first base side of second takes his time. Quiet inning for Scott Feldman. The Blue Jays get a couple of hits and they leave him in. Good news is Reyes will take his position at short. They've got a pretty good lineup. Don't look at their record because these guys can swing them out. They got a little speed. They got a little power. Altuve, Grossman, and Carter. Then the cleanup man. Here's Jason Castro. He's currently riding a 5-game hit streak. He's the catcher. And during that hit streak, he has counted out 2 home runs and 5 RBIs, including an opposite field home run against the Jays last night. Then down in the 6th spot, John Singleton in this series has shown his power. He's 4 for 9, 2 home runs, 1 an inside the park home run that came in last night's game. Dominguez, Marisnick, and Gonzalez round out the lineup, and they'll take a look at Marcus Stroman for the first time.
Marcus had his stretch of scoreless innings snapped at 16 in his last start, but he was dominant nonetheless. Won his 7th ball game with an ERA just over 3 this year. He's allowed 1 run in 7 innings in each of his, and he has won each of his last 4 decisions, including in that last start against Boston, was 8 strikeouts, which is a career high for Marcus Stroman.
Stroman has a lot of strikeouts and doesn't throw a lot of fly balls, but the outfield is a big, spacious one here. It's Cabrera Rasmussen goes from left to right in the outfield. Kawasaki back at third. Reyes and Goins up the middle. Francisco at first base. And Deanna Navarro's done a nice job catching young Marcus Stroman.
Melky Cabrera has played 110 games this season. Blue Jays have played 112 as a team. 109 of those for Melky in left field. He's tied for 6th in the American League in outfield assists with 7. He's been great all season long for the Blue Jays.
First pitch swinging is Altuve. Reyes gets tested right away, and he looks 100%. Reyes injured his right shoulder on that head-first slide. He makes a nice defensive play. First test he gets this afternoon.
I was watching him throw in between innings. Did not see anything that would say or suggest that he had a problem with his shoulder. That was a fine play by Reyes to get the first out.
Robbie Grossman is 197 average. Doesn't reflect the fact that he's been swinging the bat pretty well of late. First pitch strike from Stroman. Grossman made that catch last night against Juan Francisco in the top of the 8th. There was a runner aboard that would have tied it up had it left the ballpark, but Grossman robbed Francisco of a pinch hit 2-run homer.
Didn't that seem to energize the whole Houston Astros team?
No question about it. They came right back and scored 4 big runs in the bottom of the 8th.
And it's very deflating for a team that you think you've got the ball game tied up. You're on the road, and then next thing you know, you're down by 6.
Well, they brought a left-handed pitcher in to pitch to Francisco. The first pitch he threw, Tony Sipp threw breaking ball, and Francisco hammered it. Looked like it was out of the ballpark for sure. And you've been on the bench, and when the guy swings at it, you go, everybody jumps up. We've tied it.
We've tied it. We're going to get a chance to win this, but then here it goes back to the wall. Leaps goes into the stands. Look at that, over that yellow line to pull it back, and it just deflates you.
Boy, there's a great 2-seam fastball. Stroman with his first strikeout of the afternoon. 2 up, 2 down. That's a new wrinkle into Stroman's arsenal, and boy, is it an important pitch.
You know, we talk about making X's on both sides of the plate all the time, and he's got the great breaking ball that'll go into left-handers, but when he starts to develop that one right there, that little two-seamer that comes back in and freezes the lefties, it's going to be tough.
Chris Carter with 3 hits last night, including his 22nd home run. Rips at the first pitch. Carter tied his season high with those 3 hits. There's a good breaking ball. He hit one up onto the rail tracks here last night, up in deep left field. Got big power. There's a fly ball into center field. Colby Erasmus calls for it. Quick inning for Marcus Stroman. It took him just 9 pitches to retire the side in Oakland. The first place showdown at Rogers Center. It all starts Tuesday night. The Orioles are in town to take on the Blue Jays. Tuesdays nights a 7:07 start. Wednesday and Thursday as well. 3 night games when the Orioles come to Rogers Center. To get your tickets, call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234 or log online at BlueJays.com. Big series of front-running Orioles at Rogers Center for 3 games. Currently, the Orioles have a 2.5 game lead over the Blue Jays, 5 over the Yankees, and 7.5 over the Reds. The Orioles are playing this afternoon at home against the Mariners. They have a 1-0 lead. Tomorrow, they will play on their off day in Washington, a makeup game against the Nationals. And then they will come to Toronto to take on the Blue Jays starting Tuesday night.
Blue Jays win this game this afternoon, and they're guaranteed that they have a chance to get into first place with a sweep.
Juan Francisco, he's going to get a steady diet of curveballs from Scott Feldman. You can bet on that. 16 homers, 42 RBIs. Check swing, and he's quick in the hole, 0-2.
Feldman's not afraid to run that cutter in on the right-handers. That's a pretty good idea. You get those, or excuse me, the left-handers, you get them starting to dive out over the plate like that, he'll push you back with a cutter and then drop the curveball on you.
Elevates that fastball. He's not going to throw a fastball in the strike zone.
No.
He's going to cut it. He's going to elevate it. He's going to miss the strike zone. He's going to pitch with his fastball out of the strike zone. There's a curveball. He's a chase guy. He needs you to chase his pitches to be effective.
And if you're patient and you have a plan when you get up to that plate, you can have success against him. Blue Jays have already had 2 hits.
There's a little broken bat looper. That's going to drop for a base hit. Make it 3 hits for the Jays as Francisco has a leadoff single here in the second. Well, Scott Feldman won't overpower you, and he'll mix it up. He's got a wide assortment of pitches that he has to rely upon.
He can move the ball around, and you were talking about the fastball. Just 33% of the time he's going to use that fastball. He'll cut it. That's at 34% of the time, and he'll use that to set up, I think, his other pitches, the curveball and the changeup that have been getting hit this season. 308 and 360 against the changeup. But yeah, the fastball is just for show.
Colby Rasmus did not play in the game last night. He breaks his bat, and this is going to drop for a base hit. The Blue Jays with 4 hits already. Back-to-back singles here. No one has really hit the ball hard. Bautista's liner went into right center. Pretty good line drive, but the others have just been kind of routine base hits.
This is because of the cutter right here. It gets off of the middle of that bat. He's made 2 pretty good pitches. He's broken 2 bats, and he's given up 2 hits this inning.
And he's standing out on that mound thinking, hit it like a man.
And what does the hitter say?
Yeah,
I hit it
like you threw it.
Exactly.
Munenori Kawasaki. Yeah, you got to wonder if the Blue Jays are going to bunt here. Third baseman Matt Dominguez thinks so. Singleton at first is on the edge of the grass. They're looking for the bunt.
Yeah, and Dominguez keeps creeping in just a little bit more. I'd give him a shot right here to swing away. Take one shot at trying to drive in that runner at second base.
Kawasaki has 6 sacrifice bunts so far this season. Blue Jays as a team have sacrificed 25 times.
When you sacrifice in this situation here, you'd like a little bit more speed out at second base. You can see Marwin Gonzalez, the shortstop, really keeping Francisco close to the bag.
Kawasaki not showing bunt, takes a breaking ball for a strike. Kawasaki has 8 RBIs this season, got 132 at bats. So he's not a guy you really lean on as a run producer, but he's gotten some key hits. Ground ball to second. Altuve will go to first. It works just like a sacrifice bunt, except it cost Kawasaki an at bat. He grounds out 4-3. The runners move up.
Another ball that is not hit very hard by the Blue Jays, but it does the job. I thought Colby Rasmus did a good job of reading that ball off the bat and sprinting past the ball to get into scoring position. If you're loafing on that play, Altuve is going to go into the middle of the diamond and get the out at second base.
Well, Kawasaki moves the runners up. Blue Jays in this series are just 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. They've had opportunities to break it wide open. Ryan Goins now with a chance. Scoreless game, top of the second. He goes after the breaking ball. That's one thing I never understood. When you're hitting against a guy you've never seen before and he throws you a curveball in the first pitch, why would you swing at him?
I don't know. I don't know why you would swing at it. I guess you're in swing mode right now when you step into that batter's box. There's nothing wrong with being aggressive early in the count as long as you're going to try and hit the pitch you're looking for. You cannot tell me that you go up there looking for the curveball.
First pitch curveball, guy you've never faced before.
No way.
You don't have any experience against him. I mean, if you had seen a guy 15 at bats or so and he throws you a lot of curveballs, then you got a run producing situation. I said, okay, fine, but it's got to be a strike. Ball and a strike to Goins. There's a breaking ball over the glove of the shortstop. Francisco's in to score. Ryan Goins picks up the RBI single, his 10th RBI of the season, and the Blue Jays are out on top early. He waited back on that pitch and hammered it over the shortstop's glove. Gonzalez had a shot at it. That's why Rasmus has to hold at second.
He almost came up with this one. And Marisnick comes up, catches it on 2 ups. Watch the center fielder come charging hard. I mean, Colby Rasmus isn't even at third base because of the defensive play right there. Mom likes that one. Get over his head. Yes, sir. RBI.
Trying's mom, Melissa, here for the entire 4-game series. Anthony Ghost now shows bunt and pulls the bat back. Now that's a great idea. Yeah, double play situation. Ghost runs well. Not likely to bunt into or to hit into a double play to begin with, but you eliminate the possibility. If you bunt it, you're going to score a run, get the guy to second. Even if you're out, you have a run in and a runner in scoring position.
And the first baseman's got to hold that runner on.
Blue Jays, first time through the order, have 5 hits. Goes the 9th man to bat. Ground ball. Going to be tough to double up. Goes Altuve with a good turn. He does it. Oh, what a turn at second by Jose Altuve. He got rid of it in a hurry. The 2-time All-Star turns the double play to end the inning and save a run. But the Blue Jays have taken a 1-0 lead on the RBI single by Owens. Taking place a little bit later, Sportsnet 360 will cover the first all-Canadian ATP Finals. Milos Raonic will take on Vasek Pospisil in the finals of the ATP City Open at Washington. Top of the clock. Make sure you check it out. And what a way to lead up to the Rogers Cup that will start this week in Toronto and Montreal. The men are in Toronto, the women are in Montreal, and Milos Raonic is the 6th seed for this upcoming Rogers Cup event. But today, a historic match, and you can see it on Sportsnet 360. Jason Castro, the Astros catcher, goes after the first pitch and fouls it off the mask of Gianna Navarro. Castro's got a 5-game hit streak, average at .234. You know, if the Astros had George Springer and Carter didn't strike out as much, they could use Castro down in the order, hit him 7th and 8th, and then his numbers would really match up. Springer is injured. He's not active right now. But when you get that kind of production for your catcher, that's pretty good.
11 home runs and 43 RBIs is a good start to his season. Those are good numbers for a catcher.
But when you look at the cleanup hitter, yeah.
Not for a number 4 guy.
He's a former #1 pick. They had high expectations for him, but as a switch, as a left-handed hitting catcher, you drop him down in the order, and all of a sudden he really becomes an asset.
It's a team that's missing. You mentioned Springer out right field. Dexter Fowler was playing center field for him early in the year before he was hurt again. So he is out of the lineup. Well, you got Altuve and Carter. I mean, they've got some players that are going to do something offensively.
Yeah, you get Springer and Fowler back in your lineup. It's a much different look. There's a weak grounder hit to second. Goins comes after it. Castro's retired. 4-3 on the putout. Ryan Goins has done a great job in the field. He's gotten some key hits. He's given the Blue Jays the lead. He has 9 RBIs since he has been recalled from AAA Buffalo.
He's a different player. He is not the same player we saw in April to begin the season. He's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And that's one thing that young players just have to do when they get to the big leagues. They got to feel comfortable. They got to get up here and say, you know what, I can do this. And I think he went down to AAA and realized that he's a pretty good player, and he was just waiting for the second chance.
Mark Krause, the left fielder, batting 183. There are a lot of batting averages on the interstate in this lineup. I-83, I-88, I-67. Got to get off the interstate.
Yeah, there's a 45 in there too.
That's Route 45. I can speak from experience. I've been there before.
Hey, it's tough. It's tough. And it's tough this late in the year to get that batting average to move once you've had so many at bats.
Drummond's got 2 strikes on Krause. He has a strikeout already. And take a look at the patterns we have seen with 2 strikes.
Well, the chances are that he's going to throw a breaking ball with 2 strikes. He's got a wipeout curveball that he uses, and he likes to use it against the against the left-handers.
That was a fastball that's popped in the air. Melky Cabrera over near the foul line makes the pitch.
We've seen this now against the left-handers in this lineup once he got the 2 strikes. Fastball. He struck out Grossman with the fastball looking, and then tried the 2-seamer right there to Krause, and he popped it up. I bet you the next time through the lineup he's going to show him that curveball with 2 strikes.
Yeah, and that has been established by his catcher, Gianni Navarro. Everybody has heard about the great breaking balls that Stroman has. First time through the order, he'll use the fastball with 2 strikes and then mix it up. Then John Singleton. He's got 10 home runs. He's hit a pair of home runs in this series. That's a first pitch breaking ball. Singleton's 10 home runs, the most by a rookie for an Astros ball club since '91, when Jeff Bagwell hit 14. There's a high fly ball to right. Gose has got room. Couple of steps onto the warning track. First 6 go down in order for Marcus Stroman. He has a 1-0 lead in Houston.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Minute Maid Park, right near downtown Houston. We have been here for 4 days. We've taken 6 different routes to our hotel. There are more freeways in downtown Houston than there are in Los Angeles. And I tell you what, they go in all different directions.
Somehow we would find our way to the ballpark, though.
We always ended up here. The other day I asked our cab driver how much extra was it for the tour.
We saw parks and
neighborhoods.
neighborhoods.
Nice. Saw a lot of neighborhoods.
Yeah,
it was good. Jose Reyes, he singled and was thrown out sliding into second base and injured his shoulder, but he's okay and still in the game. He rips that ball into the seats.
Blue Jays are feeling pretty comfortable this afternoon against Scott Feldman. 5 hits already. They've hit the ball hard. They've found holes. They've broken a ton of bats already.
Good thing they're going home. They're going to run out of lumber.
Yeah. They're making Jeff Ross's job a lot easier. He's with the broken bats.
This is Reyes in the first inning after he singled on the first pitch. He slides into the right leg of Marwin Gonzalez. Came off the bag. He was tagged out. He was injured and stayed in the game. He gets a piece of that breaking ball. His right collarbone slid into the shin of the shortstop's right leg. And you don't want to lose this hot bat. Last 22 games, he's at .344.
He's had the second most hits, 48 since June the 24th. Only Jose Altuve has had more. So, yeah, he's locked in, and he's really setting the table for the Blue Jays.
Altuve, what a terrific season he's put together. He leads the majors in hits. He leads the American League in average and stolen bases. And we have seen a little bit of his game here. He manufactured a run, drew a air from R.A. Dickey, and then scored on the air by Danny Valencia yesterday. Reyes putting up a fight against Scott Feldman. Coming into this game, Reyes was 4 for 7 against Feldman. He's now 5 for 8, hitting over 500 against the Astros. Big right-hander. Feldman is 6'7". Began his career with the Texas Rangers. Breaking ball lined into right. That's in front of Robbie Grossman. Reyes is 2 for 2. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. A lot of good games going on today. Odorizzi has been hit hard. 2 2/3, 5 earned runs, 8 hits. Jared Weaver on the mound for the Angels. Tampa Bay, you got to believe they're deflated after hearing that their ace was traded away. David Price moved to Detroit. I don't expect Reyes to stay at first very long. Feldman is very deliberate to the plate, and he throws that slow curveball. Reyes has 19 steals in 20 attempts. Thought about it. Breaking ball bounced to Feldman. He'll look to first. Singleton gets back. Cabrera is out. Reyes goes to second on the putout.
He had a big lead over first base, too. And he bluffed like he was going to go. But he's in scoring position now for Jose Bautista. Explaining to Marwin Gonzalez what happened at second base.
Yeah, Gonzalez didn't do anything wrong. He was planted there waiting on the throw. It was a good throw from the center fielder. And Reyes just slid into his leg. Bautista, the DH, he has a hit already. With Bautista playing DH today, he'll get half the day off out of right field, plus the day off tomorrow. Be like a week's vacation for him. Reyes was inching off the bag, and Altuve snuck in behind him.
Jose Bautista was going to DH the other night. John Gibbons wanting to get him off of his feet for one of the games here in Houston. good time for it right here with the scheduled off day tomorrow.
There goes Reyes. He got a good jump to throw to third. Not in time. Reyes timed it perfectly. He bounced off second, picks up his 20th stolen base of the season.
It's only been thrown out one time this year, and I love what Jose Bautista did at the plate to help his teammate. Watch him bluff this bump right here just to distract Jason Castro enough to slow him down as Reyes gets the running start, gets to third base with less than 2 outs.
You don't see players do that very often, but when I was catching in the midst of my career, anytime there was a base runner running, the batter would stick the bat in front of your mask, wave the bat out there, and then you were trying to find the baseball. It was just common practice.
Yeah, I gotta believe that you would blink twice trying to catch the ball in that bat. You weren't expecting that to come through on that fake bunt.
It was just enough of a distraction to really take your focus away.
Another one of the little things that Bautista can do to help his team. Watch this. Just drop it down there in front of him just to distract them a little bit.
He had that barrel go all the way across the face of that mask. That's the high pitch he lays off. He struck out on that pitch against Oberholzer last night. So Bautista's aboard for a second time. First and third now for Deoner Navarro, and he's had a very productive road trip. 6 RBIs on the trip for the Jays catcher. Another opportunity. He's been one of the best for the Blue Jays all season long at driving in runs.
He's going to have to pick one out right here and think about, at the minimum, a fly ball to get that run in. Blue Jays had a golden opportunity last inning. They came away with 1 run, but they ended that one in a double play with a runner at third base. Now a chance for the cleanup hitter to do some damage.
First and third, 1 out. Breaking ball into dirt. Bautista's going to move up. Boy, another good piece of base running by Bautista. He watched the catcher go down on 2 knees, and anytime you see a catcher do that, you've got to take off. It's difficult for him to bounce up and make a good throw.
Heads up base running again. It gets a secondary lead. He goes down to his knees, and there's no way that Castro is going to come up and even attempt to throw Bautista. So that helps the Blue Jays. They get him out of that double play possibility, and the infield has to move back.
Second and third, 1 out now. Navarro, in these situations, runners in scoring position less than 2 outs, has hit .422 this year. Done such a good job of delivering big hits. He's not going to get it straight.
Yeah, how patient has he been right there? That's why he's hitting so well with in these situations. He's not trying to do too much. He might even shorten up his swing just a little bit more with runners in scoring position.
Well, the Astros are giving the Blue Jays a run. If he pulls it to the right side of the infield, they're going to score a run. He didn't get anything to hit. He'll take ball 4. Back-to-back walks issued by Feldman. Now the bases are loaded for Francisco. So before Francisco steps in the box, the pitching coach Brett Strom will come to the mound. Feldman has given up 6 hits, a couple of walks so far in this ball game, and you can see it's been a tough stretch for Feldman since the 1st of June. 1-6 ERA, almost 5.5. Opponents have hit nearly 300 against him, and he's had too many base runners on.
Yeah, the whip is way too high at 1.5. He's also given up 8 home runs. His only win in that time right there, he beat the Detroit Tigers on June the 29th. 6 innings, he only gave up 2 earned runs against that very good Tiger team. So the Blue Jays have got a cash right here. They had a chance in the first inning, a couple of hits, and didn't score. Last inning, now they got the bases loaded, looking for that one big hit.
On Francisco, singled and scored in the second. Hits it on the ground. One hop to Altuve. Second for one. Back to first. Double play. Brett Strong with some terrific advice for Scott Feldman. Hey, throw a double play ball. Altuve will turn it for you. Second double play the Astros have turned so far that has kept it a 1-0 game. .ca's MLB insiders cover every angle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Breaking news, photos, videos, opinions, and tweets. A one-stop shop for everything Blue Jays. The Blue Jays Rundown only on Sportsnet.ca. And the headline on the Rundown today, Dickey doesn't get the job done in Jays loss. R.A. Dickey, the #1 starter for the Blue Jays, he was the opening day starter, gave up 2 runs in the 5th inning, and he committed an error, part of 2 errors on the play that allowed Altuve to score from first base. Then Chris Carter hit a home run, and that gave the Astros a 4-2 lead at the time, and they would pad that lead with 4 runs in the 8th. So now it's over to Marcus Stroman to salvage a split in this 4-game series. He has a 1-0 lead. First pitch strike. Matt Dominguez, third baseman. He's played every day, and he's got some power. He's a young guy who's trying to get his feet on the ground. Dominguez, as we mentioned, has started 110 of the Astros' 111 games. Ground ball, nice play by Francisco. Stroman quickly to first, and Francisco takes a hit away from Matt Dominguez. The Baseball Bio is brought to you by Transitions Adaptive Lenses. Lenses automatically filter just the right amount of light. Experience life well lived.
This afternoon, we're going to talk about Marcus Stroman, just 23 years old. He was the 22nd overall pick in the 2012 amateur draft. He went to Duke University, and he was named first-team All-ACC when he was a senior there. He was also the Atlantic Coast Conference Academic Honor Roll selection in 2012. Love seeing that.
Marcus has moved quickly through the organization at Duke in 2012. That's Sean Snedeker, who was the pitching coach for the Duke Blue Devils. He was Marcus's pitching coach at the time at Duke, and he's here watching the ball game today. Has to be a very proud moment for Snedeker. See one of his young Chargers pitching in the big leagues.
You know, on top of being a good pitcher, he's a good athlete. Watch him on this ball to the right side. He hesitates for a second and then says, oh, I got to get over there. And look at him. He just blows right by the runner and gets there in plenty of time to record the out at first.
Stroman played second base as a freshman at Duke, and you can see his athleticism helped him out on that play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jake Marisnick, the center fielder.
He has always been a strikeout pitcher wherever he has gone.
There's the first base hit of the ball game. First hit for Marisnick since joining the Astros. He's now 1 for 8 in an Astros uniform.
We have seen Marcus snap off a lot of breaking balls. That time he just rolled over the plate. Right where Marisnick could reach it. Picked up his first hit.
So Marisnick can run. He's a threat to steal at first base, and Stroman's going to have to keep an eye on him. Blue Jays lead it 1-0. Marwin Gonzalez, the shortstop, his first action in this series. Gonzalez had a bit of a leg issue, and he was given an injection before the Blue Jays got here. He had the hamstring problem. And this is the first time we have seen him in action.
Called the platelet enrichment procedure. And he is now able to play. What is that? When you like take blood out of you, you enrich it, then you put it back in? It helps you to heal quicker?
They concentrate plasma in it, and then they give you that injection. Platelet-rich plasma. Supposed to help the healing process.
Speed it up. And he was unavailable Thursday and Friday in this series. And then gets to start this afternoon. He's a valuable guy for this team because he can play different positions.
25 years old. He's a switch hitter out of Venezuela. The Astros had a plan that Jonathan Villar was going to be their shortstop, and Villar, a very good defender, just didn't hit. Carried his bat problems to the field, and they eventually had to send him back down. Bo Porter told me on Thursday afternoon, he said, we got a guy in our minor leagues that is going to be a phenomenal player, Carlos Correa, a shortstop. He's injured now, and they're just really keeping close tabs on him. But Correa, by all accounts, is the real deal. And I spoke to Enos Cabell, who's also a former player and an executive for the Astros. He said, man, I saw him play the first time as a kid, and I went, whoa. Strong arm, great bat, terrific shortstop. It's a fly ball into center. Rasmus over in the alley makes the catch. Gonzalez is retired, 2 down.
Yeah, everybody you talk to around baseball, scouts, baseball people who have seen that kid, they think he's going to be up here very quickly.
There's Enos Cabell. He was a fine player for a long time in the major leagues. He is now an advisor to the front office here. They talk about Correa as a guy that's chasing legends, meaning that he has the kind of talent to rewrite the record books. And boy, if they could get him to team up with this guy, Jose Altuve, and give them a keystone combination up the middle, things are promising.
Yeah, that's what you got to do when you lose as much as they have lost lately.
There's another base hit for Altuve. Marisnick stops at second, so Altuve just keeps on swinging it. Altuve's on pace for 224 hits. That would be a record for the Astros.
He's very aggressive at the plate. He can handle all the pitches, the fastball, breaking ball, whatever. This time another breaking ball that goes over the middle of the plate, about thigh high. And he knows what to do with that. He's very aggressive at the plate. Free swinger.
He's got an awful lot of Dustin Pedroia characteristics. Altuve now with 105 hits leads the majors in that department. Robbie Grossman caught looking at strike 3 in his first at bat. Blue Jays lead it 1-0. Two balls and no strikes. Runners at first and second. Jake Marisnick getting a single. His first hit since joining the club. This is his third game since being traded to Houston from Miami. Now it's 2-1. John Gibbons really needs to have this win. Blue Jays are 6-3 on this road trip. Pretty good number, but coming in here and winning the first game, you think, okay, we can really have a good road trip. And then the Astros took the next 2 games.
Yeah, making this day for the Blue Jays imperative that they win this ball game before they head back home.
The Blue Jays are certainly a long way from being out of the woods. They finish up this road trip, have an off day tomorrow, then Baltimore comes to town, then right behind Baltimore, the Detroit Tigers. And oh yeah, just in case you haven't heard, David Price will start against the Blue Jays on Sunday in that series. Then the Jays go back out on the road. Seattle, Chicago, Milwaukee, another 3-city tour.
Against a very good Seattle team and a Milwaukee team that's very good.
Bouncing ball, foul outside of first.
Yeah, it's not going to get any easier.
When you look at the 2 top teams in the American League East and you compare their record to the teams in the West, this is what the 2 teams have done against the AL West. Baltimore 20-12, the Blue Jays just 12-14. Of course, the Blue Jays had that terrible road trip out to Oakland and Anaheim right before the All-Star break. And that added to those lopsided numbers. Breaking ball down and in. But when you start to break down the Seattle Mariners, I mean, we're not even up to the Orioles and Tigers yet, but look at the Mariners lineup now. With the addition of Austin Jackson, who had the best July in the American League, all of a sudden they become a threat offensively.
They can hit, they can pitch it, they can pick it. They were leading the American League in fielding percentage also.
Full count, 2 outs. The runners will be off on the pitch. There they go. Bouncing ball just outside of first. Felix Hernandez, Iwakuma, James Paxton made his first start and pitched well yesterday. They've got power arms in the bullpen. Dustin Pedroia called me over to the batting cage in Boston and said, have you seen the Mariners yet? Everybody they have in their bullpen throws 100.
And every year they seem to get rid of guys who throw 95, 98 miles an hour and still keep coming up with more.
Seattle currently 10.5 back, 4 games over 500. Deanna Navarro didn't like what was about to take place, so he asked for time. He walked out to the mound.
Last time against Grossman, struck him out with an inside fastball. Really froze Grossman. And it looks like he wanted to go to a breaking ball. This is a good idea right here. Go out there and talk about what they want to do. This is a tight situation.
Well, you got a 10-year veteran and a pitcher in Stroman who's just starting out his career. So sometimes those young pitchers, as we heard from Bob Stanley in the pregame show, sometimes they get a little bit excited, a little overzealous. Another 3-2 pitch. There's a fastball. Grossman couldn't catch up to it. He had a good cut. Then you get a young pitcher like Stroman who's had a little success, and they start to get full of themselves, and they start thinking, oh, I got this thing figured out. Here we are, what, 8, 9, 10 games into his career. No, the game has a way of humbling you.
He's really leaned on Navarro to guide him through a lot of his starts.
There go the runners. Breaking ball is down and in. Grossman wouldn't chase. That'll load the bases. First walk issued by Stroman this afternoon. Stroman has really done a great job, and he gets better and better with each start. And you look what he's done over his last 3 starts. Numbers are really impressive.
Silly. Those are silly numbers right there. 21 innings, 3 starts, that's 7 innings. So he's given John Gibbons some length when he goes out there. He's only given up 11 hits. He's been very productive. He's only given up 1 earned run. And I love the 5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He commands his fastball. He throws it where he needs to. He keeps it down for the most part. And he's got a couple of pitches that he can get you out with for strikeouts in these types of situations when he's got runners on base. He's got a curveball and a slider that's nasty.
Now he's dealing with a power hitter in Chris Carter. He's got the bases loaded. Carter has 2 career grand slams. He's got 22 homers for the season. First pitch breaking ball for a strike. Pete Walker out to help Navarro get Stroman out of this inning. Jake Marisnick got the first hit of the ball game for the Astros. Altuve singled right behind him. Robbie Grossman walked. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Breaking ball down.
Carter was guessing fastball, and they crossed him up and threw him a slider.
So he threw him a first pitch breaking ball for a cold strike, then took the breaking ball out of the zone. Now he can do anything he wants to. He can elevate, he can throw another breaking ball, run that fastball inside above his belt. Another breaking ball, and he wouldn't bite. Now, see, you give him 3 looks at the same pitch. To me, that is going to get his focus down in that one area now. You've got to change his plane.
Yep. Go upstairs with a fastball. They've done a good job in this series by throwing that fastball above his hands. Up in the strike zone. Get it up there.
That's the fastball. Navarro said, okay, you elevated that one. Now you can double up, go right up there again,
or go back down. Either way, whatever you feel comfortable with. And this is where Marcus Stroman can say, okay, I feel good with my 4-seamer, or I feel good with my 2-seamer, whatever you want to do. But it's up or down right here. Up again. No problem.
Now it's 2-2.
Now it's hook time.
Breaking ball, base hit to left field. Marisnick's in to score. Altuve right behind him, and Carter continues to swing a red-hot bat. He has given the Astros the lead. Chris Carter had 3 hits last night. He gets a big hit here this afternoon.
That breaking ball didn't have the bite that we have seen in the past from Marcus Stroman. It rolled again right over the middle of the plate. And a very hot hitter, like you were saying, and Chris Carter hammers it in the left field for a base hit. The month of July was good for him. He was tied for 4th in the American League for the lead in RBIs. He had 19 RBIs in the month of July, and he's picked it up here in August.
He's always had the potential to be a good run producer, and now he's learning how to hit a little bit. 2 out, 2 strike single for Chris Carter. Jason Castro grounded out the second, his first time up. Astros with a 2-1 lead. Stroman in the first 2 innings threw 20 pitches. He's thrown 31 pitches this inning. Last time out, he threw 115 pitches in his start. That was career high, and just wonder if that had an impact. He tied a career high. The first time he threw 115 pitches was at Oakland. Went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, struck out 7. But the next start, after that Oakland start, he lasted just 3 2/3 and was charged with 5 earned runs in 3 2/3.
Right. And he wasn't as sharp also.
He's a young pitcher. This is just his 12th big league start. We spoke to Pete Walker about this specifically today, and Walker said, well, we look at his work, we look at his side session, we look at his body, and everything indicates it shouldn't be a problem. And it might not be the problem today. No. He just hasn't made quality pitches.
They also talk to the trainers and say, is there any soreness? Is there any problems? I mean, they really monitor what they do in between the starts.
Ground ball. Goins throws to first. The inning is over, but the Astros score a pair of runs on 3 hits and a walk. Chris Carter with a 2-run single. Astros up 2-1. August 8th through the 10th, the Blue Jays will take on the Detroit Tigers. During the Tigers series, bring your non-perishable food items and cash donations to gates 3, 5, 10, and 13 at Rogers Center. There are mystery bags available for a monetary donation. Call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234 or log online at bluejays.com. Get your tickets for the 30th annual Lady Jays Food Drive. It's in support of Food Banks Canada. Well, the Astros, they didn't get the memo. They're supposed to lay over and roll over for the Blue Jays. That hasn't been the case at all. They're trying to win 3 of 4 here. Bo Porter pleased with the way his club has responded against the Blue Jays. Colby Rasmus will try to get something going. Rasmus had a single his first time up. A broken bat single into center.
Jays have had their chances the first 3 innings against Scott Feldman. Lots of base runners, but only one of them has touched home.
There's that breaking ball. You're not going to get too many fastballs to hit off Feldman. You have to set your sights on something slow. Target middle of the diamond. Stay on it.
He has been cutting that fastball in on those left-handers. Just 88 miles an hour. That's what his fastball is. It's not a blazer. But you can't go up there, excuse me, Buck, with a long swing.
Yeah, he's a pitcher. There's no question about that. He knows he can't pitch in the heart of the plate. Oh, Rasmus got a pitch to hit and swung right through it. That cutter stayed out over the plate. Colby batting .221 for the season. Got 14 homers and 33 RBIs. Back up the middle, but they had the shift on. That's Gonzalez, the shortstop, who throws to first. 1 down. Munenori Kawasaki grounded out to second base his first time up. Kawasaki's done a good job filling in for the Blue Jays. They can use him at second, third, occasionally at short, but now with Goins on the ball club, if Reyes is unable to play short, I would expect that Goins would play shortstop.
We've also had him in the outfield a little bit, taking some fly balls.
Kawasaki was a 7-time All-Star during his play in Japan. They also have an honor called the Best 9, which combines both divisions of the Japanese Professional League, Pacific League and the Central League, and they choose the 9 best players at their position. He made that team twice. Won the Gold Glove twice in Japan. His last 2 seasons, he played his entire 11 seasons with Fukuoka, the SoftBank Hawks. In the last 2 seasons, he played every inning at shortstop.
Every inning.
Every inning.
No wonder he's the first guy out on the field every single day getting ready. Nobody works harder than this guy.
Nobody.
Right here.
And you know what? He's dedicated. He never misses a day. He had a great exchange with John Gibbons earlier about optional hitting. He said in Japan we play 144 games. We have batting practice 144 days. We have infield 144 days. Japanese players are skinny. They're always in good shape. He fouls this one off. Another thing that he does is he really protects that strike zone with 2 strikes. You can see he chokes up on the bat. That gives him great bat control.
Well, he knows who he is. He knows what his job is. He's not going to hit for power. He's going to have to take a lot of pitches.
Bounces this one fair. Singleton goes to the bag and beats Kawasaki 2 down.
Have good at bats and come up with clutch hits. That time he worked over Feldman.
Blue Jays have stranded 4 base runners through the first 3 innings. Ryan Goins has the only RBI for the Jays. He had an RBI single in the second. Goins grew up in Texas. He played college baseball at Dallas Baptist, and his hometown of Round Rock is where the Astros have their AAA ball club, just north of Austin, Texas. Reed Ryan is the president of the Astros, and he saw Ryan Goins play as a high school player in Round Rock's ballpark. He told me that on Thursday, that he saw Goins play, and he said, I could tell he was a pretty good baseball player in high school. Of course, Reed Ryan is Nolan Ryan's son, so he's got a pretty good eye for baseball.
Yeah, he knows a little something about it. Ryan went to Dallas Baptist, and there have been major leaguers come out of Dallas Baptist.
There's an inside fastball.
Ben Zobrist comes to mind. Same school.
Zobrist is a very good player for Tampa Bay, of course. He started right here with Houston. 2-1, 2 outs. Blue Jays need to get something going. Now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nolan Ryan, Texas beef, and if Nolan Ryan puts his name on it, you can bet it's pretty good. He has had a very successful post-playing career. His number is retired here and in Texas with the Rangers. Number 34. Bouncing ball, Singleton takes it. He'll go to the bag. Easy inning for Scott Feldman. 3 ground ball outs. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. Houston with a 2-1 lead. On Sportsnet 360 in its early first set action. Milos Raonic has an early lead over Vasek Pospisil in the All-Canadian final of the AT&T City Open in Washington, D.C. It's on right now.
I hold in my hand Karnak Magnificent. Remember that? I bet you a Canadian wins that.
Way to get out on a limb.
I'm seeing into the future.
First time ever Canadians have participated in ATP finals. Both Canadians. Marcus Stroman finds himself trailing now. He retired the first 7 he faced in this ball game. Jake Marisnick got the first base hit, came around to score the first run. There's another base hit. Solid single to left. Mark Krause with a leadoff single.
Tried that little two-seam sinker down and away in the left-handed hitting. Krause was all over that. Don't try and pull this ball. Watch the two-seamer going down and away, and he stays right with it.
Not every base hit is a mistake. There's a perfect example of that. That was a good pitch, and I'm sure Starwood would like to throw that same pitch again, but got to tip your cap to the hitter once in a while. Pitchers hate to do that, I know, but that was a good pitch. John Singleton, a lot of power. 10 home runs, 2 in this series.
One of them was a interesting trip around the bases for him yesterday.
An inside the park home run, and initially he was called out at the plate by the home plate umpire Jordan Baker. Houston asked for a review, and when they went to the review, he was ruled safe. Anthony goes to center fielder, slipped on the warning track as the ball bounced away from him in center.
Yeah, Blue Jays caught a bad break on that one and hit a pole out in front of that bullpen of the Astros and ricocheted all the way back to first base, or excuse me, center field. And by the time Ghost ran it down, he circled the bases. First inside the park home run by an Astro since
2011.
Jose Altuve.
Another rookie. He was a rookie in 2011. He hit an inside the parker August 20th of 2011.
Now Altuve I could see hitting an inside the park home run. This big guy right here, I would not have put money on that.
Yeah, it took an exceptional bounce. It hit off the fence in front of the Astros bullpen and bounced away from Anthony Ghost. There's a drive into center, and Rasmus is not going to get it. He plays it on the bounce. Singleton is headed for second. Here's the throw to second, not in time. Krause stops at third. Singleton's had a good series. He's 5 for 11 against the Jays.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
John Singleton swinging a hot bat in this series. That's his 5th hit. Todd Redmond up for a second time this afternoon. It won't take him long to get ready.
No, it won't. He was up last inning. Singleton doubled the left center field against R.A. Dickey. He doubled the right field. Had the inside the park home run. He's homered to right field. He's hit the ball all over the ballpark.
Matt Dominguez was retired on a good play by the first baseman, Juan Francisco, in the 3rd inning. He had a hot shot. Francisco backhanded and threw to first to retire Dominguez.
He'll be looking to do the same thing right here. Shoot a ball to the right side.
Astros have 5 hits. They've scored 2 runs. They have a 1-run lead. Pretty good movement on that pitch, and Dominguez could just foul it out.
Pitch that's developing for him. That two-seamer once again. Threw that one in a good place. Got to move the ball in and out against this guy, I think, right here. He's prone to strike out. You move it in and away and back in, and that's what they're doing right there. You can see from pitch tracker, a couple of in and a couple down and away.
There's a base hit into center field. crosses in to score. They're going to stop Singleton at third base, and the Astros are squaring up Marcus Stroman this afternoon. That's 6 hits already. Dominguez delivers the RBI single, his 46th ribby of the season.
You know, all in the last 2 innings, those 6 hits and the 3 runs that they put up. Pete Walker's going to come out and buy some time right here for John Gibbons, but they got an idea of what Marcus Stroman is doing right now, and his breaking ball and his stuff is not as crisp as it was in his last start against the Boston Red Sox.
That's the perfect word to describe it. There's not that snap to his breaking ball nor the life on his fastball. It may be the impact of those 115 pitches he threw last time out.
They do not have an innings limit on him. That's what they were telling us today, that there's no limits on how long he can go or how many innings he's going to go this season.
And it's not a matter of him being fatigued or him being overused. It's just a matter that life isn't in his arm as it was prior to that 115 pitches. And he bounced back from that earlier in the season. We mentioned he had a short outing after his first 115 pitch game.
Got a little extra rest and then came back strong.
Jake Marisnick was the first Astro to reach base. He got a base hit with 1 out in the 3rd. His first hit.
Since that clunker you were talking about against the Los Angeles Angels, he's won his last 3 starts.
Marisnick has another hit. Singleton jogs home. Jake Marisnick is 2 for 2 today. His first RBI of the season. And that's it for Marcus Stroman. So Stroman doesn't retire a batter here in the 4th. He's going to go 3 plus 4 batters. And the Astros have knocked him out of the game. He got off to a great start, retired the first 7 batters he faced this afternoon. But the Astros have timed him up. He will leave the game trailing 4-1. Todd Redmond into the ball game. He'll take over with a couple aboard, facing number 9 hitter Marwin Gonzalez when we come back. Mike Wilner. Extensive debate on the whole story. Blue Jays talk with Mike Wilner after the game on Sportsnet 590. The Face. Going to be a lot to talk about in regards to Marcus Stroman. He lost just 3 plus 4 batters, gives up 7 hits. He has allowed 4 runs, and the runners are his responsibility on base.
And for the second time in this series, Todd Redmond's got to bail out a starter who doesn't go very long. Drew Hutchison threw just 3 innings here on Thursday night, but Redmond came in and bailed him out with 2 2/3 innings. He only gave up 2 hits and no earned runs. He's going to have to do the same thing here on Sunday.
He threw 43 pitches on Thursday First batter Redmond will face is the switch hitting shortstop Marwin Gonzalez.
Blue Jays are looking for a bunt.
Nobody out. He turns and squares to bunt, bunts it foul. First and second, nobody out. 4 straight hits by the Astros to start this inning.
And that's the right call right there. With the guy on deck, you better get a couple of guys into scoring position. You got the best hitter in the American League on deck.
As a perfect bunt, Kawasaki comes in from third. Throws out Gonzalez. The runners move up. Perfect execution in that situation by Gonzalez. So now it's second and third, one out. Blue Jays already trail by 3. They're going to have to come in and try to cut down the run at the plate. So Redmond has his hands full. They got a base open, so they're not going to mess with Altuve. Altuve will be given the free pass. He has a single. He was robbed of a base hit in his first at bat by Reyes, and he'll be given 4 wide ones.
This is the right call right here by John Gibbons. Put the American League's leading hitter on base and set up the double play. If he gets a hit, and the chances are, the percentages are, he's going to get a hit. That's 2 more runs. So you put him on and you face Grossman and try and get the double play.
No question about it. This is the percentage move once they put the sack bunt down, and Will Porter knew that.
It's also the 4th time that he has been intentionally walked this year.
Unusual for a leadoff hitter. Generally, it's those 3-4 hitters that get the free passes, but Altuve's had such a great year. He's going to be walked now. The bases are loaded for Robbie Grossman. Grossman is 0 for 4 against Todd Redmond. Redmond will throw that sinking fastball. He can get a ground ball here. Two runs in so far this inning.
Yank that one.
Trying to do a little too much with that fastball. Missed badly up and in.
Yeah, you reach back for a little extra. Wanting to get the out. You can see he wanted to go away, but he just pulls it right up under the chin.
Boy, these are huge runs for the Blue Jays to save. They already trail 4-1. The Astros have really put pressure on the Blue Jays. 4 hits this inning, sacrifice bunt. Walk loaded the bases. Well, Porter, his team improved from a year ago, but still well under 500. 19 games under 500. It's ripped into the seats. Look out. One ball, 2 strikes. Just missed that outside corner. Foul out of play. Grossman has been up and down with the Astros and is trying to secure position on this roster. Matt Dominguez is at third. He had an RBI single. Marisnick picked up an RBI single, his second hit. And the Blue Jays walked out Altuve with the base open. Wouldn't chase that slider. It's a full count.
He's had a good eye against the Blue Jays in this series. He put up some good at-bats. Came over from the Pirates in that Wandy Rodriguez trade a couple of years ago. Get some playing time here in the big leagues.
3-2 pitch. Ball forward. Redmond walks in a run. So after the intentional walk, Ty Redmond walks Robbie Grossman. And the Astros have a 5-1 lead.
Tough to stop the bleeding sometimes. You get a couple of runners on, you're looking for that one pitch where you can get that ground ball, get out of the inning. Sometimes it's just tough to stop it. Todd's got to make a pitch right here to Chris Carter, a very dangerous hitter, and who's very hot right now.
He is smoking hot. He had a 3-hit game last night. He had an RBI, 2-run single his last time up. Lays off that high pitch. Carter with 53 RBIs. Another high pitch he wouldn't chase. Carter leads the Astros in ribbies. He also leads in home runs with 22.
And he is absolutely raking with the bases loaded this year. 4 for 5. He's got 12 RBIs with those 4 hits.
Pops this one up. Navarro takes the mask off. He's got room over near the dugout, and he makes the catch. A big out for the Blue Jays. Out number 2 as Navarro stayed with that high pop-up. Redmond's not out of it yet. 2 outs, bases remain loaded for Jason Castro. Castro will be the 9th man to bat this inning.
What a pitch right there to get a very dangerous hitter. Fastball, he gets him to pop up. And a good play by Navarro, who's still looking up into that roof. I wonder if he lost that ball momentarily.
He stayed with it. He looked up in the vicinity where he thought it would come down, and he got there. Castro, the catcher. Ground ball, Goins at second. And the inning is over, but the Astros send 9 men to the plate. They score 3 more runs, and they've taken a 5-1 lead. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Journal with the Sony Smart Band. Get yours at Rogers today for just $24.99 when you upgrade or switch to select new Android phones on a 2-year share everything plan. Check out the Sony Smart Band today. Stop by Rogers and check it out. Well, the Astros have taking a big lead here. You see that 422 sign behind the windows there? That's 422 feet away. That's not the address of the building. That's how far it is to that window. That was the office of one of the executives of the Astros across the way. And it's 422 feet to the window there.
Somebody hit one there?
Oh, I believe they have.
Yeah.
Take a look at the next 5 series for the Blue Jays, and it's a real test. But you know what? It's big league baseball. Every night's a big test. The Orioles will be in town starting Tuesday for a 3-game series. They're 61-48. They have a 2.5 game lead over the Blue Jays. And then, how about the Tigers coming to town with that supercharged rotation now that includes David Price? Tigers are 5 games ahead of Kansas City. Then we go out west. First time we'll go to Seattle. The Mariners are 4 games over at the start of play today, and they have added to their club recently with the addition of Austin Jackson in center field. Chicago White Sox and their terrific rookie Jose Abreu, who continues to impress in his rookie season. Abreu leads in many offensive categories, including home runs, 31, 84 RBIs. He leads the American League. He also leads in total bases. He's 2 ahead of Mike Trout.
Meaningful games for the Blue Jays because they're facing the first place Baltimore Orioles in that big showdown that begins next week. Then Detroit, that's a first place team. Seattle, they're trying to fend them off and keep them off of the wild card. They're 2 games above the Mariners in that. And then the Milwaukee Brewers are a first place club. I mean, it's tough sledding for the Blue Jays over the next 2 weeks or so.
It's big league baseball. Every night you have a challenge. And the Blue Jays, with the off day tomorrow, will pick things up. They're going to start that series against Baltimore on Tuesday. So they'll be off. And when you look at the Tuesday starters, Bud Norris will go to the mound against Mark Burley. That'll open up the series. And then in game 2, it will be Wei-Yin Chen, who has 12 wins. He'll start against Drew Hutchison. And then in the 3rd game of that series, it'll be Jay Happ, who had a good start here. He'll go up against Miguel Gonzalez, who is 5-6 for the Orioles. So it'll be a good 3-game series. And the Orioles come to town Tuesday night.
Everybody talks about the Orioles and they can't pitch and they don't have this and they don't have that. Every one of those pitchers that are going to be pitching against the Blue Jays, Norris, Chen, and Gonzalez, has an ERA of 3. They can pitch.
The Orioles are 61-48. Their team ERA is 3.71. Mark Burley, a little bit of a downturn recently. Picked up his 11th win in the opener here. Anthony Gose takes the first pitch strike. Blue Jays got to get something going. They're running out of time, and now they have 4 runs to make up just to tie it. Breaking ball. There's a start. Gose sat back, looked for that breaking ball, and hammered it into right. Well, the Jays have hit Feldman. They have 7 hits against him. They just haven't been able to come up with a big hit.
Curveball right where Anthony Gose likes it. Right there, right down and in. Lefties love that slow curveball. Right there, he times that one up. Good start.
They'll turn the lineup over. Jose Reyes is 2 for 2 already this afternoon. He waits on the breaking ball, but this is going to be a fly ball to right. Grossman coming in. Reyes is retired. The Blue Jays have stranded 4 in this game. And that has been a problem throughout this series. Melky Cabrera hitless in his 2 at-bats so far.
Melky's working on a 10-game hit streak. He has had success against the Astros. He's a 320 hitter against Houston in his career.
Gose faked a break and shut her down at first. Boy, the pitchers have had the upper hand around both leagues this afternoon. When you look at the out-of-town scoreboard, there are a lot of shutouts up on the board.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them now. And in 3 other games, the team scored 1 run. Good day to pitch.
Another breaking ball. This one misses downstairs. St. Louis being shut out by Milwaukee. Washington a 1-0 lead over the Phillies. San Francisco 9-0 over the Mets. Minnesota, Chicago 1-0 game. Minnesota on top. And then Baltimore and Seattle a 1-0 game. Tigers lead the Colorado Rockies 4-0. Not a whole lot of offense going on today. But it's going to get tough from here on in. A lot of teams in the mix. Everybody trying to get into postseason play.
They are finally putting up the American League wild card race in the stats pack here. And it looks like everybody in the American League has a chance.
Ghost got a great jump, and he sneaks in ahead of the tag at second. He went on the breaking ball. Anthony Ghost picks up his 12th steal. Gets into scoring position.
He picked a good pitch to run on. Slow curveball. You can see he's got a very aggressive lead. And that slow curveball allows him, with his good speed, to get into scoring position.
The tag was on the thigh. He had already had his hand on second base. Melky Cabrera with a 1-2 count. He gets another breaking ball. We told you at the top of the show, Scott Feldman's going to use that curveball a lot. He'll use that like other pitchers use their fastball, kind of like Bronson Arroyo in his heyday.
Slow curveball to set up his other pitches. He's been leaving a lot of pitches out over the middle of the plate.
Ground ball to third. Dominguez has a good glove, and he throws out Cabrera. And Holmes goes at second.
Boy, he ran Anthony Ghost all the way back to the bag. What you're supposed to do. Third baseman, he catches it, and he ran Ghost back so Anthony wouldn't advance on the throw over to first base. Still have plenty of time to get Milky.
Ghost in scoring position for Bautista. Jose has reached twice. He singled and walked. Goes after breaking ball, tried to shoot it through the hole. That's Altuve on the first base side of second. He retreats back to his position and throws out Bautista. Leadoff single, dies at third. Will take on the Baltimore Orioles. The game starts at 7:07 p.m. The first 15,000 fans will receive a hashtag Joey Bats social media t-shirt giveaway chosen by you, the fans. Call the Jays at 416-341-1234 or log online at BlueJays.com to get your ticket for Connect with the Jays night, all presented by Honda. Well, you can hear the crowd in the background. They're acknowledging a couple. The gentleman has just asked his young lady if she would marry him, and that would be a memory that a lot of people would enjoy. I don't think my wife would have really appreciated it if I had proposed to her at the ballpark.
She said yes, by the way.
No, she did say yes. Well, how can you say no in front of 20,000 people? That's good thinking by that guy, huh? Put the pressure on her. How are you going to say no? You're up on the scoreboard.
Chance. You got no chance to say no.
Mark Krause had a base hit to start the inning. There's the happy couple we were talking about. So far, it's still going all right.
Nice move, David. That's David and Anna.
Mm-hmm. We are in the bottom of the fifth, and the Astros enjoying a 5-1 lead. The hits are even at 7 apiece. Marcus Stroman knocked out of the game after 3+ innings. He faced 4 batters in the fourth and couldn't get an out. All 5 runs are charged to Stroman. There's a high fly ball into left. Melky Cabrera coming in, makes the grab, 1 down.
The 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Downtown Houston, the Blue Jays have a career 2-7 record here at Minute Maid Park. You know what? We have talked about this in the past, and it's been something the Blue Jays have done for quite a while. They have always kind of played down to their competition. They go into New York and win 2 out of 3. Go into Boston and sweep the Red Sox and come in here flying high, win the opener, and then games slip away from them.
I had a really interesting conversation with Dave Tremblay, who's a coach with the Houston Astros, and I was asking him about what it's like playing here in Houston. And he said it's almost becoming like Tampa. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, it's hot, so the players will come here and they'll bring their families and they'll sit around the pool. And then you come to the ballpark and there's nobody here. It's very quiet. It's almost like an instructional aid game when you were a young kid. And the players just don't seem to be motivated when they come here. It's a distinct home field advantage for the Astros and Tampa Bay.
I think that's a great call. And we have seen it for years in Tampa Bay, early on before they became competitive. You go in there and it was like an empty airport hangar. And nothing was going on. There wasn't any atmosphere. And they would take advantage of it because, true, and families would travel on trips down to Tampa. They did it when I managed. And they'd go down there. Nice hotel, great pool, great atmosphere. And a lot of them live in that area because of spring training. You see the same phenomenon on the West Coast. A lot of players come from California.
That's not to say that's the reason why the Blue Jays are 2-7 in Houston. He's just saying he's seeing that from a lot of teams that are coming in here. Plus, they haven't been very successful over the last few years, and you could see some teams laying down, backing off the gas pedal, if you will, thinking that, okay, we've got this one taken care of, this series.
Yeah, and especially after you're coming out of New York and Boston, the atmosphere is supercharged. You're focused every single pitch, every single at bat. Then you come in here and you win the first one and say, okay, well, this is going to be a cakewalk. Well, it's not been a cakewalk. The Astros are 3rd in the American League in home runs. They're 2nd in stolen bases. They've got some offensive weapons. And they have taken the lead this afternoon.
This is where you really got to push through it and say, okay, we're going to take this game today. We're going to concentrate. We're going to win today's ball game.
Well, that's why they call these games the dog days of August. You find out who really wants it. Those teams that grind through the tough times.
This guy's had a good series.
And it continues. John Singleton drives it into the alley in right center. Rasmus will get the ball in quickly. For Singleton, that's his 6th hit in the series. He came in this game, batting 188.
You want to see how you're supposed to come out of that box on a base hit. Look at this. It's a big power hitter. He's thinking about 2. He comes around first base, forcing that outfielder to stop him. That's how you play.
Yeah, and he may have got a little bit of a lecture when he hit that inside the park home run yesterday, because he thought it was a home run out of the box. And he jogged a few steps up the first baseline, and it was a bang-bang play at home. So Bo Porter might have talked to him about that. Bo Porter comes from a football background. He played at University of Iowa. He was a great football player. He played for Dave Tremblay in the minor leagues. And he has remembered that and has Tremblay as his bench coach now. That ball gets away from Francisco, and Singleton is going to go to third. Anthony Gose falls down as he tried to pick up that baseball, and for a second straight game, an Astros base runner goes first to third on an apparent pickoff attempt and an errant throw by the pitcher. Redmond will be charged with the error. Goins, the second baseman, goes out, but watch how this throw gets away. It is up and in, and no chance for Francisco to make a play. Now watch Gross as he picks it up. He falls down, allowing Singleton to coast into third. So now that forces the infield in. An error charge to the pitcher.
2 days in a row. Happened in yesterday's game. Altuve went to third. He scored on another error.
Well, the Astros have just outplayed the Blue Jays in this series.
They've been opportunistic. They've taken advantage of it. They have played well defensively. They've made pitches when they've had to, and they've won 2 out of 3.
Matt Dominguez has an RBI already. He drives this one deep to center. He's going to pick up another. The error is going to prove costly right off the bat. Singleton went to third on the error by the pitcher, and he comes in to score on the sac fly. So it's 6-1 Houston.
Tough to give away runs like that. And then you got to come back on the road.
Jake Marisnick, the former Blue Jays, had a good day at the plate. He has singled twice. He scored a run and driven one in. Marisnick is 23 years old. Originally drafted by the Blue Jays. He was part of that November 2012 trade between the Marlins and the Jays. Marisnick, along with Henderson Alvarez, Yunel Escobar, Danny Echeverria, Jeff Mathis, Justin Nicolino, and Anthony DeScalfini, all went to Miami for Emilio Bonifacio, John Buck, Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, Jose Reyes, and Cash. November 2012. Big trade.
Josh Johnson has moved on. Bonifacio has moved on. He just went to the Braves, I believe, right at the trade deadline. Then John Buck has moved on.
Only Burley and Reyes remain. Kawasaki quickly to first, throws out Marisnick. The inning is over. But again, the Astros take advantage of an error. They score another run, and it is the dog days of August. The Blue Jays on the verge of losing 3 of 4 to Houston. Of our latest Blue Jays documentary, Double Play. It's a closer look at the winning combination of Paul Beeston and Pat Gillick. Double Play following the Jays on 4 Sportsnet channels. Those documentaries have proven to be very, very well done and a very good watch. Last time, Mel Didier, the Scouts Honor Scout story about Mel Didier and his scouting life. Today, Double Play, talking about the great combination of Paul Beeston and Pat Gillick.
They do a great job with those documentaries. I mean, outstanding. I watched the one about the Blue Jays, the what if, how they ended up in Toronto. Outstanding work by the guys.
Blue Jays are down by 5. It'll be the cleanup man starting things off. Keanu Navarro takes a Mender outside. It's a ball and a strike. Now it's 1-2. Scott Feldman, the big right-hander, he's 6'7". Most of his career was spent as a member of the Texas Rangers. Breaking ball, hammered to first. Singleton will go to the bag. Another ground ball out for Feldman.
Trying to win for the first time since June 29th. And right now he's pitching with a 5-run lead.
Won that game against Detroit. Went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 7 hits. He has lost his last 3 decisions. Took a loss at the hand of the Red Sox. Lost in Chicago to the White Sox and out in Oakland to the A's.
Told you that at the beginning of this show that he has thrown at least 6 innings against the Blue Jays in 5 of his 7 career starts. And here we are. 6th inning. Still out there.
Breaking ball lifted into center. Jake Marisnick, a couple of steps in toward the infield, makes the catch. 2 quick outs. Feldman trying to get through the 6th inning, has retired 5 straight. Pretty good line. He hadn't struck out a batter, and that's his MO. He's going to be one of those guys that just kind of plays upon your aggressiveness.
His game high this season, 6. That's the most he has ever struck out in a game this season.
Did that twice, once against Arizona in June and once against his former team, the Orioles, in Baltimore on May 9th. The Orioles are atop the AL East, and they're in an unusual stretch of games. Prior to their 2-run loss last night, the Orioles had 7 consecutive 1-run games. They're not scoring many runs,
right,
but they're winning games. That's the second longest such streak of the season. The Giants played 8 consecutive 1-run games in April.
How many did they have today?
Another 1-0 game. Orioles continue to lead. Quick inning for Feldman in the 6th. Blue Jays down in order. He set down 6 straight in the middle innings. the city open in Washington, D.C. Milos Raonic took the first set against Vasek Pospisil. They are in set number 2, and Raonic has a lead 4-3 in the second set. And this is an all-Canadian final. First time it's happened on the ATP Tour. And a great build-up to the Rogers Cup, which will take place in Toronto this week. New pitcher into the game is Aaron Sanchez. Sanchez coming on, and he has made a very positive impression with his first big league work.
Especially on the right-handed batters. Look at that. They don't have a hit off of him yet. He's 2-0 with a 142 earned run average. He has just pitched in 4 games for the Blue Jays, and he is really opening up some eyes. 3 strikeouts, no walks in that time. He has pitched in this series. He too pitched in that game when Drew Hutchison only went 3. That was on Thursday, so he's had a couple of days rest, and we'll follow Todd Redmond like he did on Thursday.
So it'll be the number 9 hitter, Marwin Gonzalez, who had a sacrifice bunt in the 3-run 4th inning. Sanchez throws the first pitch strike. It's kind of curious that they would use Sanchez in this situation, given the fact they're down by 5, and he is reportedly on a pitch innings limit for the season. He started in the minor leagues, of course, and he was a starting pitcher before he was called up. They moved him to the bullpen for a couple of outings down in Buffalo before his promotion to the major leagues. There has been a little bit of confusion as to an exact number of innings. We have heard 130, we have heard 140 for a total number of innings for the season for Sanchez.
So let's just go with 135.
Perfect.
Right in the middle.
You know, every team is different on how they approach innings count and a pitch count and an innings limit. But I think you got to go individual cases. Sanchez misses with that fastball, 97 with ease. Aaron has thrown 6 1/3 innings coming into this game. This year in the minor leagues, he threw a total of 100 1/3 innings. There's a line drive to right at Anthony Ghost. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. There's another 1-run game, Jamie, and we talked about the Orioles putting a terrific streak together playing close ball games.
But they can't pitch.
Yeah, they can pitch.
Is that Chris Tillman?
Now they got Britton at the end, the left-hander. Then they've got Andrew Miller as a situational left-hander that can pitch to both lefties and righties. And then they've got Brian Mattis, another left-hander. They got a nice bullpen. Altuve chops it off home. Nice play by the third baseman, Kawasaki. The one thing that has been really impressive about Aaron Sanchez, he's only worked in 6 1/3 coming into this game, but he's averaged 11 pitches an inning. There was so much talk about lack of command and he's wild and can't get anything done. He hasn't shown any of those signs in the big leagues.
Not afraid to throw his breaking ball when he is behind in the count, and he's everything that we heard of when he was in the minor leagues. The thing that impresses me the most about him is his demeanor on the mound. Guy looks like he's been here for 6-7 years in the big leagues.
Yeah, he pitches with a very quiet confidence, that's for sure. He's not animated. He is not demonstrative. You don't see him make all the gyrations and gestations. He pitches. When he's done pitching, he walks off the mound.
Yep, and he looks very confident. And you want to know what that does to a batter? It can intimidate you. This guy's good and he knows it. I always love those guys who would be out on the mound and do all their antics and all the kind of stuff. You just wanted to bear down and bury that guy, you know. But the guys who are those quiet assassins, those quiet guys who are very confident, those are the guys that were scary.
Fans, I wish you could have seen the look on Pat's face when he described that. You want to bear down and get those guys.
Just wanted to crush them, didn't you? Huh?
The guys that were really animated, like Oil Can Boyd and Dennis Eckersley, the guys that really hit it. And then you'd have the flip side of that. Greg Maddux and David Code and Tom Glavine. You never knew if they were doing good or doing bad.
Yeah, what they were thinking. They're like, this guy knows something about me.
Strike three called. Good inning for Sanchez. His good start to his young career continues to roll. 3 up, 3 down in the 6th. Is presented by Honda. It takes place Sunday, August 10th, and the Blue Jays take on the Detroit Tigers. Game time is 1:07 p.m. First 20,000 fans into Rogers Center will receive a replica Blue Jays BP cap. All the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Or log online to BlueJays.com and get your tickets for Sunday, August 10th. The Blue Jays will give away that replica BP cap.
I think they wanted to get on television.
That was the cap that lady was wearing right there. That beautiful blue cap with a big red maple leaf. Munenori Kawasaki takes the first pitch up for a ball. Mooney at third base today has grounded out twice. He had a good at bat in the second when he hit a grounder to second to move the runners from first and second to second and third. The other day I asked Mooney about his career in Japan, and I was kind of talking, obviously, with no Japanese language whatsoever. And after our interview, we kind of chopped it up a little bit. I thanked him, and he looked at me and said, "Good English." He complimented me on my English.
He complimented on your English.
Yeah, good English.
Hey, he is a character.
A lot of fun. 2-2 inside, ball 3.
What's new? 3-2. This guy will work the count as good as anybody on this team.
I think he stays to the fundamentals of baseball as well as anybody I've ever seen. I mean, if you're down by 2 runs, he'll work the count to 3-2 every time. There he strikes out. Chased one maybe off the plate outside. Kawasaki strikes out. Feldman has retired 7 straight.
First strikeout of the afternoon for Scott Feldman. And it comes leading off the 7th inning. He just said, okay, I'm going to throw my cutter right on the outside corner, and Mooney can hold up.
Brett Lawrie had 2 more hits last night playing third base for the Dunedin Blue Jays. Dunedin will play Palm Beach, the Cardinals affiliate, at 5 Eastern time, and Lawrie is scheduled to play again in that game. Goins goes after the first pitch. Blue Jays are making it easy for Scott Feldman. That's 8 straight in the middle innings.
A lot of ground balls from Feldman. finish up that thought on Brett Lawrie, he's been playing second and then third the next day and then back to second. And it's going to go back and forth until they feel like he is ready to come back to Toronto.
What are your thoughts as to how many at-bats it might take for Lawrie?
Well, normally, I think it could take 10 days or so. That would be about 40 at-bats, for a player who has been out as long as Brett has been out. But with the team heading home against a very good Baltimore team and a very good Detroit team, and then we go to Seattle, Brett's backyard, I anticipate seeing him in Toronto this week.
Really? 0-1. Yeah, 40 at-bats, that's about 3/4 of spring training. And he's been out over a month. So he's got a lot of rust.
Yep.
And none of these pitchers have missed any time, so they're in mid-season form, literally.
You got to play yourself back into shape.
Anthony Ghost breaks his bat. Going to be a foot race between Ghost and Feldman wins it. Another good play by the Astros defensively. Singleton shovels to Feldman, and the Blue Jays have been retired up and down 3 straight innings. Feldman gets the feed from Singleton. He slides and steps on the bag to end the inning. Fans, the play of the game is brought to you by the Sleeman Speakeasy. Only the notorious get in. Enter for your chance at SleemanSpeakeasy.ca.
Second inning, Blue Jays already had 1 run in and a couple of runners on base. Anthony Ghost steps to the plate, hits a ground ball softly to the shortstop. Watch the turn by Jose Altuve at second base, getting a very fast Anthony Ghost to end that inning and stranding that runner at third base. That's the play of the game this afternoon. Altuve very impressive at second base, how he anchored his foot on that bag and really pushed off and got a lot on that throw to finish off that double play.
Well, we want to remind you the Rogers Cup Round 1 begins tomorrow across all the channels. It all starts at 11 Eastern Time. It's 11 a.m., 8 a.m. Pacific Time. And the Canadians can boast another championship for Milos Raonic. He won his 6th ATP title this afternoon in Washington. So he will be going into that tournament with a lot of momentum. And we want to congratulate both Raonic and Husable as they had that final matchup. 2 Canadians playing for the championship in Washington. And they'll all move to Toronto to start the Rogers Cup. And it all begins tomorrow right here on Sportsnet. Women are in Montreal as they alternate between venues from year to year. Last year the women were in Toronto, and this year they will be in Montreal. So we'll cover it all for you. Dustin McGowan into work the 7th inning as Aaron Sanchez had a clean inning. And he is in and out quickly.
First time that we have seen Dustin McGowan in this series. He finished up that 6-1 Blue Jay win against the Red Sox last Wednesday. Before they came here to Houston, an inning, gave up a double to Bogarts, and that was it. Also had a strikeout. McGowan been a little bit under the weather, not available the first couple of nights here in Houston. And we'll get some work
And Sanchez with a clean inning. He had a strikeout. He threw 12 pitches. Now McGowan will get some work. The Jays have tomorrow off because they get set to welcome in the Orioles on Tuesday night. In the meantime, Baltimore will travel down the Turnpike and take on the Nationals tomorrow in a makeup game in Washington before they come to Toronto. McGowan misses with his first pitch. Hard into the seats, foul. The Nationals-Orioles game will start at 7 Eastern time tomorrow. Kevin Gausman will go to the mound, and he'll be opposed by Tanner Roark for the Nationals. Tanner Roark's having a pretty good season. He's 11-6 with a .274 earned run average. Chris Carter's had a good series against the Blue Jays.
It's been a mystery team, hasn't it, this year, the Washington Nationals? You look at that team and you're like, they should be running away with it. They're up by 2.5 games, but they're only 10 games over 500.
Yeah, it's kind of a jammed up situation. Atlanta has lost 5 in a row. Washington up over the Phillies 4-0. That's now a final as they shut out the Phillies. Little Tapper foul.
Shutout. That's another one. Baltimore won 1-0. Detroit won via shutout.
Steven Strasburg with the win. He is 8-9. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, and 10 strikeouts for Strasburg. Cole Hamels took the loss. He's 6-6. That's great baseball these last 2 months of the season. Look at the division leaders: Baltimore, Detroit, Oakland in the American League, Washington, Milwaukee, Los Angeles in the National League. Nobody has just run away and hidden from their division. It's going to be pennant races. Chris Carter strikes out. Starter for the Blue Jays this afternoon was Marcus Stroman, who came in really riding a high. He had 3 terrific games before they start. But Stroman throws 67 pitches today, lasts just 3 innings plus 4 batters, and gives up 7 hits, 5 earned runs. He walked a batter and had just 1 strikeout, but his stuff wasn't crisp today.
No, he started off well. He retired the first 7 batters that he faced this afternoon, and then gave up a hit to Marisnik, and then it just wasn't the same. You're right. His last start against the Boston Red Sox was the finest that we have seen him. His fastball had some movement on it, had some jump to it. His breaking ball had a good snap to it. Today it just rolled over the plate, and the Astros hit some of those balls hard.
Now, Stroman's had a couple of beautiful outings, of course, and he is a young man making just his 12th start this afternoon. So going to be some ups and downs for him. Jason Castro has grounded out 3 times to the second baseman. You know what this game does is it reminds you of how good the consistent pitchers are. Over the years, the Glavins and Maddox, of course, they're Hall of Fame pitchers. The guys like Pedro Martinez, who are year in and year out, we can count on them consistently delivering. It's a hot shot, another ground ball. Castro is 0 for 4 on 3 ground ball outs.
Talking about consistent pitching, how about one Felix Hernandez? King Felix, I believe, is up to 14 straight games of 7 innings and less than 2 runs.
Yeah, he's just lucky, though. He just pitches on days when the other team doesn't score. He picks his time very perfectly. You know, we're going to see them, too. I'm anxious to see that team. That's a very good team, and the Blue Jays haven't seen the Mariners at all.
They're 2 games up on the Mariners, and they've got them 7 times before the season's finished.
Well, that was a dove sitting on that cable, and generally the doves, especially white doves, are symptomatic and a symbol of peace. Well, it hasn't been very peaceful for the Blue Jays here, that's for sure.
Maybe he came in when they had the roof open yesterday.
Now he's trying to find his way out. Mark Krause, the big left fielder, has gone 1 for 3. He scored a run in the fourth. And just looking at Felix Hernandez's record, he's 11-3 with a 201 earned run average. And he has pitched at least 7 innings in every game since May 12th. 7 innings. That's what he's supposed to do.
In less than 2 innings. The record was held by Tom Seaver, and he just beat that record with his last start.
Yeah, on the 12th of May, he only went 6 2/3. He won that game 12-5, so they got him out early. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Cut on and missed. McGowan has a clean inning. 1, 2, 3, couple of strikeouts. We'll go to the 8th. The Astros have a big lead. Follow Shai Davidi, taking you beyond the bases with in-depth analysis and expert opinion. It's the Inside Scoop. Shai Davidi, MLB Insider, only on Sportsnet.ca. Shai Davidi working alongside Mary Davis at the start of this show, working on the pregame show. Those two young ladies discussing the merits of ice cream and snow cone here at Minute Maid Park. Trust me, it's good. Astros having a good series. They are up 2-1 in this series and have a 6-1 lead as the Blue Jays are set to bat in the 8th.
And Mr. Feldman is cruising right now. He's retired the Blue Jays in order in the last 3 innings.
For his career, he is 1-4 against the Jays. This is his 8th career start. Coming into this game, he had a .577 earned run average against the Blue Jays. That's not been the case today. He has retired 9 straight. 3 up, 3 down in the 5th, 6th, and 7th. That swing back fastball missed inside. 2-1. Reyes has a couple of hits today. Bouncing ball over the mound. Altuve coming from second. Bare hands, not in time. A 3-hit day for Reyes.
Altuve was very deep at second base, and once that ball got over the 6'7" Scott Feldman, there was no chance for Altuve to make the play. Look where he catches it, right in the baseline. And by that time, too late.
He made a good play, barehanding and throwing all in one motion, but Reyes beats it out. Jose is 3 for 4 with 3 singles. Melky Cabrera 0 for so far. Bounce to Feldman. He goes to second for 1, back to first, and that leadoff single erased immediately. Third double play turned by the Astros this afternoon. This time it's the starting pitcher Feldman who made a good throw to second.
And each one of those have really hurt. They had a couple of runners on. We showed that before was the play of the game, and Ghost grounded into a double play. They ended the third inning with a couple of runners on while the bases were loaded, and had a double play to end that inning. And now after a leadoff single, Melky bounces into that double play.
Melky 0 for 4. Bautista bats. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. They wanted that pitch up, and they threw it down, but finds the strike zone. Good sink on that fastball.
Yeah, he can make the ball go both ways. Cuts it and sinks it. Time it looked like he took a little something off, and he had Jose out in front.
This is the 13th game for Bautista in the DH spot. Coming into this game, he had a .277 batting as the DH. Picks something off that pitch and strikes out Bautista. The leadoff single, double play, and a strikeout. That's it. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Official app of Major League Baseball. Listen to live audio, follow games pitch by pitch, and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Android, and BlackBerry. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Blue Jay fans a little bit stunned here in Houston at Minute Maid Park. We move to the bottom of the 8th, and the Astros have a 5-run lead. Chad Jenkins into the game. Redmond pitched in relief of Stroman, and Redmond went 2 innings. Sanchez went an inning. McGowan went an inning, and now Chad Jenkins into the game.
Fourth reliever of the afternoon for the Blue Jays. Chad was just recalled before Thursday's game before this series here in Houston. Pitched yesterday, an inning, here to mop this one up.
Bottom of the 8th inning. You can see the Blue Jay fans not really thrilled about the outcome so far. John Singleton, the young first baseman's had a good series. 6 hits in the series. He has singled and doubled, scored 2 runs today. Singleton, one of the bright lights in this organization. He's just 22 years old. He was originally drafted by the Phillies. It's that high fly ball into center. Rasmus over on the warning track. 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Third baseman Matt Dominguez has a couple of RBIs today. He's up to 47 now for the season.
You were just talking about Singleton. I like what the Astros did with him. They locked him up for a long time. Gave him a 5-year contract. Saying, hey, you're our guy. You're going to be our first baseman. And put their money where their mouth is.
Well, you really have to have confidence in the person. And you have to understand, if you're going to lock him up, is he going to play every day? Is he going to give us that same effort? And the Astros feel that's the case with John Singleton.
Yeah, came up, did a couple of home runs, and they signed him to a long-term deal.
This ball is in the gap. Up against the bullpen wall. Matt Dominguez is headed for second as he picks up his second hit of the afternoon. An opposite field double, his 16th double of the season.
He's had a very productive afternoon. He was robbed of a hit his first time up by Juan Francisco. Singled, and then had a sacrifice fly in the 5th, and now a double to right center.
Only Melky Cabrera has played more games than Matt Dominguez. And he's just 24 years old, so there's another piece to the puzzle here for Houston. The young third baseman that can hit a little bit. He was a first-round pick of the Marlins. Now he has found a home here in Houston. And here's another former Marlin, Jake Marisnick, also a former Blue Jay. He got the first hit of the game and really opened up the floodgates for the Astros here this afternoon. Marcus Stroman had retired 7 straight, and with 1 out in the 3rd inning, Marisnick got the first base hit. He was the first runner to reach. He added an RBI single in the 4th, part of that 3-run 4th inning, and then grounded out in the 5th.
It's a player who's always hit in the minor leagues, and there might be an adjustment period here at the big league level, but you can see he's got some tools.
Bouncing ball, nice play by Kawasaki, across the diamond in time. Marisnick hit it hard. Kawasaki stayed with it. Made a nice play on the backhand.
Chad Jenkins has that sinker working. That ball's going to be on the ground, so you better be awake. That time, Mooney stuck the glove out and picked it out of the air. What a play.
Watch how he turns his body to get an angle on that tough hop. Played it off to the side, and then he took his time to make a strong throw. 2 down. Marwin Gonzalez made a contribution to the offense this afternoon. He had a sac bunt in the 4th. Goes after the first pitch. Hits it right to Kawasaki. The inning is over. So we'll go to the 9th. Blue Jays need a rally. They're down by 5. It'll be Navarro, Francisco, and Rasmus when we come back to Houston. 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Third inning, Blue Jays are leading 1-0, bases loaded. It's a hanging breaking ball to a very hot-hitting Chris Carter. 2-run single to left field. That would cap off that inning where they scored a couple of runs and had 3 hits. Carter turned this game around with that base hit. They would score 3 more the next inning, another run the inning after that to make it 6-1 where we stayed. But Carter's big hit, the drive of the game.
Scott Feldman back to work the 9th inning, trying to pick up the complete game. He's had 2 career complete games. They both came last year. First against the Padres while he was pitching for the Cubs, and the second while pitching for the Orioles was against the White Sox. Trying to pick up his 3rd career complete game.
Houston has had 4 complete games this whole year, all done by one guy, Dallas Keuchel. He's had 4 complete games, so trying to become just the 2nd starting pitcher for the Houston Astros to get a complete game.
Blue Jays did not face Keuchel in this series. He beat Oakland on the Wednesday before the Blue Jays got to town. He beat Oakland Wednesday afternoon 8-1. He's a perfect young pitcher, young left-hander. 0-2 to Navarro. He waits on the breaking ball. Altuve is out in shallow right. 1 down. Navarro found that ball off his foot, and he's feeling the impact of that baseball. He's going to walk it off back to the dugout. He found the previous pitch off his foot, and you can see very gingerly as that foot's barking at him right now. Blue Jays don't need any more injuries, that's for sure. Juan Francisco has a single. He scored the only Blue Jays run way back in the 2nd. Pops this one up. Dominguez in foul ground. Blue Jays down to their final out. Scott Feldman has faced the minimum the last 3 innings. He is 1 out away from wrapping up the Blue Jays very quietly.
Last base runner where we had the single by Reyes, but then Ghost was in scoring position after a single and stolen base, and then he's gotten tough. He has handled the left-handers. They've stacked a lot of lefties into this lineup, and he has handled them this afternoon by using that cutter right in on their hands.
Colby Erasmus takes one upstairs. First time through the order, the Blue Jays had 5 hits, but that led just to the single run, and after that he shut them down.
The big one that really hurt was that 3rd inning when they had the bases loaded and could not score. They ended it with a double play.
Feldman needed 9 pitches in the 5th, 8 in the 6th, 9 in the 7th, 10 in the 8th. Blue Jays have gone quietly. One and 2. Popped up, this will do it. Feldman, the pitcher, calls for it, and Howe fitted. His 3rd career complete game, and Scott Feldman catches the last out.
Got stronger and stronger as the game went along. You talked about it early on. Blue Jays left 4 runners on base in the first 3 innings. They had 6 hits, but they could only plate that 1 run against Scott Feldman. Magnificent job. Second guy on the Astros to have a complete game.
Houston winning 3 of 4 in the series. We'll be back Tuesday night when the Orioles are at Rogers Center. First of 3 against Baltimore. Double play is next. Make sure you check that out. But first, let's check in with Jamie Campbell and Greg